Thank you for joining us today. I'm David Huff. I'm the MBA Corporate Relationship Manager for Cass Business School, and this is Curious Careers, an interview series where we get to talk to corporate leaders, Cass alumni, and professional development professionals in regards to careers. Today, I'm glad to introduce Brett from Moody's. Thanks for joining us, Brett. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. Good to be
No
here.
worries. Thanks a lot for joining us. Moody's, it's such a global brand, it's such a big name. Tell us a little bit about it so that we can kind of get to grips with what Moody's is and what they do.
Sure. So Moody's was created over 100 years ago to bring transparency, expertise, trust, if you will, to the U.S. bond market.
Okay.
Today, though, we are a global integrated risk assessment firm, and we essentially empower organizations to make better decisions, which is our tagline, better decisions. And we do that through several different types of products, analytical solutions, insights. And we have a philosophy. We believe that greater transparency, more informed decisions, and
Yeah.
really fair access to information will help the global community. So that's again what
Wow.
underlies everything that we do is sort of that philosophy. Um, we are, as I said, a U.S. Um, born business, if you will, but
Yeah.
we now have over 11,000 people located in more than 40 countries. Or
Wow.
as we like to say, currently 11,000 offices, as most of our workforce is still working from home.
Yeah.
Um, so that's just us in a nutshell. We have a few core businesses that we're known for. Moody's
Yeah.
Investor Service, which is the credit rating agency, which was the start of the company, and Moody's Analytics, which is essentially a fintech firm.
Okay.
That provides a lot of different products and services around risk management, but we are more and more becoming known as one Moody's, and talk about ourselves and talk to the businesses that we do business with
Yeah.
as an integrated firm.
Excellent. So that's massive. These are much bigger than I expected. I knew these were US born, but these are a global enterprise now with multiple different arms. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's 11,000 people, which it sounds a bit daunting, but in terms of financial services, which is generally where we sit,
Yeah.
we are pretty small, and people are generally surprised to hear that because Moody's has been such a strong name and a brand for many years. They expect that we have 100,000 people working under
Yeah.
our umbrella of business as opposed to about 11,000, and we've grown significantly over the past decade or so. If you go
Okay.
back to early 2000s, I think we were closer to 3,000 people globally in total. So our
Wow.
business has grown as what we do as a business has also grown considerably.
Excellent. And that really brings me on to my next question. What is the culture like at Moody's, especially considering you've grown so quickly and you are
Yeah.
continual to grow business? What's the culture like?
Yeah, sure. I think culture is one of the things that definitely makes us unique within financial services and just as a firm in general. We have several core values, and many of them would include things like being principled, being rigorous, being forward thinking, very much attached to the type of work that we do, and again, what we're offering to the market in terms of products. But I think two of the main things that I wanted to highlight that inform our culture um, are being collaborative and inclusive.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
Moody's is a very collaborative culture, and by that I mean we do a lot of work in groups, in committees, in teams, but within those organizational setups, everyone's opinion matters, and we want you to be part of that decision-making processes, be part of us, putting out opinions and products, regardless of how new you are to the company or at what level you may sit within the organization. And that I think is for for your audience probably something it's good to highlight is that even for individuals joining Moody's straight out of university or maybe with a few years of experience, you know, they're going to be asked their opinions very, very quickly and given so autonomy and responsibility, which, in financial services isn't always something that you find. So
Yes.
that's something
Yeah.
that I think is one of the main drivers of the culture at Moody's is that collaborative spirit that we have.
That's amazing. Sorry to jump in, but that is
Yeah.
amazing because in financial services, that isn't always the case. Sometimes it can be quite bureaucratic, it can be quite hierarchical. So to have that collaboration approach where you could have a master's student who has a brilliant idea and they're able to put that forward and it to be actioned on is amazing. That's a big plus.
Yeah, it's a relatively flat culture. There's not a lot of hierarchy either within the way that we're organized. And we also have what we call the open door policy. So really anyone can reach out to anyone. You don't have
Nice.
to go through any, hoops or anything
Yeah.
to speak with a senior person. And we encourage people to do that. Also, we pride ourselves on being very inclusive as an organization. Um, we like to say that diversity and inclusion is part of our DNA, which is a little corny, but and again, not just something that we say. I do
Yeah.
believe that it's a reality within Moody's. You know, diversity is obviously something that is good for businesses to do, and you may say it is a nice to have, but we go even beyond that. It's actually it's important to our business.
Yeah.
Um, for example, if we bring a group of people together and they've got the same background, same life experiences, education, etc., and they come together to make a decision, to put out a product, to put out an opinion, um, the meeting may go very well. Everyone may feel very good about it, but ultimately we might miss something. So if,
Yeah.
if we if we really want to do something correctly and do our job the best that we can, we need to bring a diversity of people together for those meetings, for those
Absolutely.
teams, because they're going to have different insights and whatnot that they'll bring to the conversation. So it's essential to us as a
Yeah.
company to have a diverse workforce. Um, but then we have to have inclusion as part of our values in order to make sure that as we're bringing in these individuals and this
Yeah.
workforce that's very diverse, that people feel comfortable and they're encouraged to share their ideas, their expertise, and that they know that it's valued, regardless again
Excellent.
of whatever it might be about themselves that is seen as different.
Excellent. I think that's obviously a fantastic way to approach business. And there's been a number of Harvard Business Review articles that have said diversity in the workforce actually creates better products, creates better experiences, and helps organizations advance. So that's amazing that you have taken that on heart and really, really drove forward with it. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely, and it's something that we've championed for a long time. But I think now that diversity and inclusion has become even more just something that we talk about globally,
Yeah.
in the workforces, but just as a people,
Yeah.
we've made sure that it's institutionalized in sort of how we talk and what we focused on as an organization, and not just at senior levels. Really, everyone within the business is expected to have these values and to champion them whenever they can.
Excellent. I think those are values that definitely run coherent with the CAS Business School brand and what we do as a global business school. What skills are necessary for someone who wants to work at Moody's who's saying, I like that culture. What do I need to do?
Yeah, of course. There's a couple, really that I think are universal. The first one I would highlight is communication skills, because it is a collaborative environment and you're working in a team setting so often, being able to speak succinctly and effectively and with influence, but also have respectful discourse is very important. So having the communication skill, and also many of our teams put out research, white papers. So being able to write
Okay.
effectively, succinctly, again, is also that's something that we look for in just about every team and candidates that come to Moody's. Um, I think another big one for us is intellectual curiosity.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, it's a good buzzword, right?
Yeah.
So we're obviously a very analytical company as a business, but we really look for people that have that sort of innate curiosity, that want to know why things are the way that they are, that want to really dive deep into information and data, and really, poke around, if you will.
Yeah.
So people that are good at that and like doing that type of work, really, I think, do well at Moody's. Um, the other the other skill I would highlight, and I
Yeah.
think this is probably again something that would be important for this audience, in terms of skills or attributes, is resiliency.
Okay.
Definitely important. Priorities change ever more quickly in today's world.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're in quite a unique situation where that's happening, and we need team members and teams that are ready and that are willing to meet those challenges. So, looking for individuals that are resilient, adaptable, is something that we definitely would put emphasis on.
Perfect. Just to highlight those again for our audience. So communication skills, verbal and written, intellectual curiosity, I love it, and resilience and adaptability. They really sound like what you need to be a part of a dynamic, agile workforce. Those sound amazing. How do advanced degrees fit into that kind of situation? What do Moody's think of advanced degrees,
Sure,
masters, MBAs?
sure. Um, well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily required. We're very much interested in educational backgrounds, and for many of our roles, we do recommend that students pursue a master's level degree.
Okay.
I would think that most of our applicants from CAS do have an advanced degree of some sort,
Yeah.
and when you sort of tear that apart a little bit, I think master's degrees are as more of an emphasis for us over MBAs.
Okay.
Not that we don't hire MBAs, but
Yeah.
within Moody's, we don't have, say, like MBA specific recruitment
Program.
programs or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So, advanced degrees, kind of a requirement, for to work at Moody's. We don't have specific MBA recruitment programs, but it's not going to hurt your chances to have an
Right.
MBA.
Yeah.
So,
And again, these masters and MBA degrees aren't required. We
yeah.
definitely hire plenty of people with bachelor's level degrees, but
Yeah.
we definitely encourage education at any level, and it kind of also feeds back into our culture at Moody's, is
Culture.
that everyone, even when they join Moody's and they could be with us for 10, 20 years, they're
Yeah.
still going to be in development. We're still looking for
Absolutely.
people to continue to grow and learn. So when we see that candidates have sort of embraced that, early on in their
Yeah.
careers and their life,
Yeah.
that's something that's going to catch our attention.
It's a good indicator and really feeds into that intellectual curiosity part that we are
100%.
talking about. Have you hired from CAS before?
We have hired quite a few people from CAS. I was just reviewing that in advance of joining the call today. We have a high number of alumni at Moody's currently, and they're not just here in the London office. We
Okay.
actually have people working kind of around the globe in places like Dubai and Cyprus.
Wow.
So I don't know if they started in London and then went
Yeah.
there, but they're definitely there now. Um, and we also, consistently have CAS students that join Moody's through our campus recruitment process. So they do quite well. There's there's an immediate brand recognition that we get from our hiring teams
Yeah.
when they see CAS students, which is good. And then you will see through the interview and the assessment process, really, I would say, strong alignment with Moody's culture and the values that we
Yeah.
have. Students at CAS are committed to meaningful, impactful work, and that's, again, something that's extremely important to us as well.
Excellent. I'm so proud that you said that, because when you were talking about the skills necessary, the culture at Moody's, I was thinking that really aligns with CAS business skills. So I'm great to see that that's actually translated into a positive recruitment process for you as well. Um, what areas of job growth do you see after COVID-19? This has obviously been quite a disruptive time. Do you see any particular areas of Moody's that will grow or will change as because of this?
Yeah, sure. It's interesting. So a couple things on that. We have a fairly decentralized workforce here in this region in Europe, Middle East, and Africa.
Yeah,
We have, out of that 11,000 employees globally, we have 2,800, but they're spread across 24 countries. So
yeah,
it's very, very diverse in terms of locations. And we continue to open new offices in places like Stockholm, Vilnius,
okay,
Riyadh. Those are, I think, the most recent in this region.
yeah,
Um, and what that means is that there's opportunities for people to go to those locations initially, but also I think even more exciting, and again for this audience, is that we have a lot of opportunities for mobility.
nice.
Yeah, so it just as an example of how that happens is that within the rating agency, our analytical teams are comprised of a lead analyst and an associate analyst who is
Yeah,
often a recent graduate or someone that's been out of the university for a couple of years, and the roles are very similar because the rating process is the same in Frankfurt or London
yeah,
or Johannesburg or Hong Kong or New York. So
yeah,
what that means is that even for people at an associate analyst level, there is the opportunity for mobility uh,
wow,
because they already know how to do the work. Obviously, they've got to
yeah,
learn a new region or a new country and
yeah,
those nuances, but they understand the role. So it's not uncommon for people to say start with us in London or Frankfurt, which are our larger offices
yeah,
in the region for those types of roles, and then they'll go to Madrid or they'll go to Milan or some other place, after a few years.
yeah,
So that's one of the areas I think that will be continuing to evolve. Additionally, I would highlight that we don't just have credit analysts at Moody's.
yeah,
We have a lot, and that's historically what we're probably known for. But
yeah,
we do have roles like that focus on economics and
okay,
product strategy, sales and customer service. Some other
okay,
quite dynamic groups. Um, but even within the analytical positions, we'll always have these traditional analyst roles, right? Because that's
yeah,
a large focus of our work. But what we're trying to do now, what we're starting to do is to really specialize some of these areas and
yeah,
focus on things like sustainability and climate risk and cybersecurity,
yeah,
as what we're offering to the market is starting to evolve as well in those areas and beyond just again credit related topics.
yeah.
Um, so we're starting to see a lot more opportunities pop up in those more specialized areas, which again might be of interest to this
Absolutely.
audience. Yeah,
That's amazing. So there's a real variety of roles there. So for anyone who thought Moody's credit agency or credit rating, to be more accurate, there's just so much more there that people could do than just the analytical side. Obviously, a massive part of the business, but there's a lot of varied roles and a lot of varied locations. That's
yeah,
amazing for a global workforce.
and I would say that it changes very quickly. It's not uncommon to hear recruiters say to students, the job that you're going to have in X number of years
Yeah.
doesn't even exist yet, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So and that's kind of our business as well. We've moved beyond our traditional, again, credit ratings and risk related products to focus on things that we think the market is going to want to know more about, or is already kind of indicating that they want to know more about.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we provide service, and we want to stay ahead of what's going to be needed in that area for years to
Yeah.
come. So, attracting and developing a workforce that's going to support that goal is really essential for us.
Absolutely. So, if I'm listening to this now and I'm thinking, I've got great communication skills, I'm resilient, I've got intellectual curiosity, I'm interested in an agile workforce, the culture sounds amazing at Moody's. What's my next step? How do I actually get in contact with you to talk about recruitment or get into that recruitment process?
Sure, absolutely. So we do have our career site, which is moodys.com/careers, and there is a whole students and graduates section where we put specific opportunities. If it's a campus recruitment related program. But then we also post roles globally at various levels at any given time that are active. So if you come to Moody's through a campus program, you'll find more information there. But that doesn't mean that that's the only place where you can find roles that may be of interest to you, or where we'll be looking for individuals that are just coming out of university to apply for. Additionally, we are starting to put together the plan for the fall and recruitment, knowing that, or not knowing, I guess I should say, sort of what the what's going to be happening with the world. So, we do intend to engage with CAS directly still in the fall, whether or not that will be virtually or on campus. Likely to be virtually, but we will share information on that with all of you as soon as it's available, and we will likely also host several different virtual sessions that will support our broader recruitment efforts as we finalize sort of what those are going to be as we get through this next couple of months.
Yeah, I think that's amazing information. It's great to see that you're going to continue to recruit. Before I sign off, is there anything you'd like to say to our CAS community before I sign off?
Yeah, no, I it's kind of cheesy, but I just hope you're all staying safe and weathering the moment that we're living in, and and staying resilient. I think probably learning a lot more about that, as I mentioned earlier, being something that's important, but we're all kind of learning about it in this moment. So really thank you so much for this time, and was happy to share some thoughts and some feedback, and I hope that it's helpful for the students.
Absolutely. I appreciate you coming on board today, Brett, to talk about Moody's. Such a big organization, such a great organization for culture, for the skills you require, for the opportunities at Moody's. I would highly recommend, if you're a student and any of that has kind of piqued your interest, to get in contact with Moody's and take the next steps. I'm David Huff. This is Curious Careers. I'll sign off until we meet again. Thanks a lot. Stay safe.